Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna devotees and pranams. Thank you for joining in for our Krishna book study today. Let's start with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtake Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namo Pankajanabhaya Namo Pankajamaline Namo Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangraye Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva Jagatpate Nanyam Tvadabhayam Pashe Yatra Mrityu Parasparam Krishna Krishna Mahabaho Bhaktanam Abhayankara Tvameko Dhayamananam Apavargosi Samshrute Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utpatakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanyamishwaram Harihi Om Tatsat. Hare Krishna devotees, thank you for joining in. So yesterday we completed chapter 71, wherein we saw how Krishna has reached Indraprastha, right, to basically to destroy Jarasandha, to kill Jarasandha, to liberate Jarasandha, and to so that Yudhishthira Maharaj could perform the Rajasuya Yajna. So in that we saw how Lord Krishna was welcomed by Yudhishthira Maharaj, by Arjuna, by Nakula, Sahadeva, Bhima, etc. Everyone according to their own relation with the Lord. The Lord offered obeisances to Yudhishthira Maharaj and Bhima. The Lord received obeisances from Nakula and Sahadeva, and how the Lord embraced Arjuna like that. So yadyad acharati shreshtas tatta devet rojana, right? Sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. So we're discussing about how the Lord was acting as a leader, right? Just what a leader does, the common people will follow. So in that way, the Lord was actually acting or behaving or performing a sadachar as a leader would do, just so that people will follow him and follow the regular etiquettes of relationships like that. All right, let's move forward. Chapter number 72, the liberation of King Jarasandha. So Krishna decides that we need to kill King Jarasandha. Yesterday we discussed in detail how they are going to do it. They're going to disguise themselves as Brahmanas and go to his palace so as to avoid many soldiers getting killed in the process, right? And then Krishna is going to devise a way by which Jarasandha can be killed, right? His body is to be divided into half and then put on the opposite side so they don't join back. So that's what you're going to see today. So devotees who want to read can raise your hands. Okay, Sridhar Prabhu, go ahead. Chapter 72, the liberation of King Jarasandha.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Chapter
Krishna.
72, the liberation
Not audible.
of King.
Is it only for me? Hold on.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Anusha Mataji, can you hear Sridhar Prabhu?
Hare Krishna.
Oh, okay. All right, one second, hold on.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Prabhu,
Ram.
you're audible.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Chapter 72, the liberation of King Jarasandha. In the great assembly of respectable citizens, friends, relatives, brahmanas, sages, kshatriyas, and vaisyas, in the presence of all, including his brother King Yudhishthira, directly addressed Lord Krishna as follows. My dear Lord Krishna, the sacrifice known as Rajasuya Yajna is the performed by the emperor, and it is considered the king of all sacrifices. By performing this sacrifice, I wish to satisfy all the demigods who are your empowered representatives within this material world. And I wish that you will kindly help me in this great venture so that it may be successfully executed. As far as the Pandavas are concerned, we have nothing to ask from the demigods. We are personally fully satisfied to your devotees. As you say, the Bhagavad Gita, persons bewildered by the material desires worship the demigods. But my purpose is different. I want to perform this Rajasuya sacrifice and invite the demigod to show that they have no power independent of you, and they are your servant, and you are the supreme personality of Godhead. Foolish person with a poor fund of knowledge considered your lordship an ordinary human being. Sometimes they are trying to find fault in you, and sometimes they defame you. Therefore, I wish to perform this Rajasuya Yajna. I wish to invite all the demigods, beginning from Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other exalted chiefs of the heavenly planet. And in the great assembly of demigods from all part of universe, I want to substitute that you are the supreme personality of Godhead, and that everyone is your servant. My dear Lord, those who are constantly in Krishna consciousness and who think of your lotus feet or your shoes are certainly freed from all condemnation of material life. Such persons who engage in your service is full Krishna consciousness, who meditate upon you only and offer prayers unto you and purify souls. Being constantly engaged in Krishna conscious service, they are free from the cycle of repeated birth and death. All, even if they do not want to freed from this material existence, but desire to enjoy the material opulence, their desire are also fulfilled by their Krishna conscious activities. In fact, those who are pure devotees of your lotus feet have no desire for material opulence. As far as we are concerned, we are fully surrendered unto you, your lotus feet, and your grace. We are so fortunate as you personally, as you are personally. Therefore, naturally, we have no desire for material opulence. The verdict of the Vedic wisdoms is that you are the supreme personality of Godhead. I want to establish this fact, and also I want to show the world the difference between the accepting you as the personality of Godhead and accepting you as an ordinary, powerful, historical person. I wish to show the world that one can attain the highest perfection of life simply by taking shelter at your lotus feet, exactly as one can satisfy the branches, twigs, leaves, and flowers of an entire tree simply by watering the root. If one take to Krishna conscious, his life become fulfilled both materially and spiritually. This does not mean that you are the partial to the Krishna conscious person and indifferent to the non-Krishna conscious person. You are equal to everyone. That is your declaration. You cannot be partial to one and not interested in others, but you sit in everyone's heart as the super soul and give everyone the respective result of his fruitive activities. You get every living entity the chance to enjoy this material world as he desires. As the supreme soul, you sit in the body within the living entity, giving him the result of his own actions as well as opportunities to turn towards your devotional service by developing Krishna consciousness. You openly declare that one should surrender unto you, giving up all other engagement, and that you will take charge of him, giving him relief from the reaction of all sins. Still, the living entity remains attached to the material activities and suffers or enjoy the reactions without your interference. You are like the desire tree, you are like the desire tree in the heavenly planet, which award benefits according to the one desire. Everyone is free to achieve the highest perfection, but one does not so desire that one you are awarding of lesser benediction is not due to partially. On the hearing of this statement by King Yudhishthira, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, not due to partiality, not due to your partiality. So in this, samoham sarva bhuteshu namidveshu sinapriyaha. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, I'm equal to all the living entities. Namidveshu, I'm not even envious of anyone. Sinapriyaha, nobody is dear to me. Right? Yet Krishna also says, Bhaktya mama vijanati, only a devotee can know me. And then he says, Kaunteya pratijanihi nami bhaktya pranashyati. So in all these ways, it looks contradictory. Right? On the hand, Krishna is saying, I'm equal to everyone. On the other hand, Krishna is saying, I can be known only by my devotees. On the other hand, Krishna is saying, only a devotee can know me, So is it contradictory? No, it's not contradictory. Right? The Acharyas explain here that that it's a natural tendency of a human being. Right? If somebody is very much serving the person, taking care of that person, looking after that person, performing, doing, following his instructions, trying to please him, of course, that person would be favorably inclined towards the other person. Right? Similarly, the Lord is equal to all the living entities. The Lord is providing the sun, the moon, the rain, everything falls everywhere without any partiality. It's not like that atheist does not get to see the sunrise, right? So everything is available to all. But if a non-devotee wants lesser benefit, like if you want only money, then the Lord may just give you money, right? The Lord may not give you Krishna Prem. So the Lord giving money to a person who is desiring money is not being partial and giving Krishna Prem only to a devotee and not giving it to a person who wants money, because this person wanted only very less. He just wanted a few currency notes, and Lord gave him. If he deserved it, he would get it. Right? That is why we should not pray to the Lord for anything. Oh Lord, give me money, give me promotion, give me the capacity to buy a new car, etc., etc. Right? Maybe that is the only thing that you will get if you pray that. Right? And it is like Dhruv Maharaj says, I was asking for pieces of a broken glass, but you are giving me your own darshan, which means it's like a diamond. I was asking for pieces of broken glass, but you've given me this diamond. Similarly, it was coming to context of Dhruv Maharaj. He wanted a kingdom greater than that of Brahmaji, right? Greater than the greatest of his forefathers, even Brahmaji. But yet, when he saw the Lord, when he had the darshan of the Lord, he said, I don't want any kingdom. No kingdom is equal to having your darshan. So, and yet the Lord gave him that, and also the Lord gave him Krishna Prem. Why? Because he actually followed the instructions of Narada Muni and chanted Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and the chanting of that mantra purified him. Although he had the desire to actually get although he had a desire for a kingdom, it was a rajasic desire, although it was a material desire, yet the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or the chanting of this Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, that mantra purified him so much so that he could get the mercy of the Supreme Lord who placed a conch shell on his head, isn't it? So like that, akama sarva kamova moksha kamodari tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Even if we have a lot of desires, we should only pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Oh Krishna, I want this. Right? If it is good for us, Krishna will give us, otherwise Krishna will not give us. But if we go and ask the demigods the same thing, we may get that. But that is the only thing we may get. Right? And that thing which we get also may not be good for us. But if Krishna gives it to us, then we can be reasonably assured. We can be very safely assured that this is good for me. That is why Krishna has allowed it to come to me like that. So, Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, right? Kamastasya hritajnana prapadyate anya devataha. Only those whose minds are lusty, whose minds are stolen by sense gratificated desires, they only actually worship the demigods. Right? A devotee, even if he has a desire, he would only worship the Supreme Lord, knowing well that if I get it, that means Krishna is pleased with me. Krishna is okay. Krishna has allowed me to get this thing. That means it will be favorable in my path of devotional service. That is why even if a devotee has some desires, he prays only to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Otherwise, if one goes to the demigods, then even if he gets that, it may not be good for him. Secondly, he may not even get it, right? If he does not have the adequate credits, right? And then what does he think? He continues to pray to other demigods, right? Lord Shiva is not working. No, let me worship Lord Goddess Saraswati, or goddess Lakshmi, or Muruga, or Ganesha, or Kartikeya. Millions of demigods, right? 3.3 crore devatas are there, right? We can just go on worshipping one to the other, right? And then we will be still rotating in this Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi cycle. So if we want to get out of this material existence, we simply have to worship Lord Sri Krishna. Even if it means we have material desires, we worship Lord Sri Krishna. And the best prayer is, "Oh Lord Krishna, oh energy of Lord Sri Krishna, please engage me in your service." If you are engaged in the service of the Lord in one of the rasas, as a servant of the Lord, as a friend of the Lord, as a parent of the Lord, as a lover of the Lord, then what happens? Everything else automatically comes, right? We know the pastime. We've discussed several times, right? About a person. The king was giving a benediction. Everyone asked, "Okay, I want a bungalow. I want a car. I want a mobile. I want nice clothing. I want ornaments." One person asked, "I want to be your friend." And later on, when this friend invited the king to come to his place, he got everything else. Whatever everyone else had, that also he got it. He got it. Why? Because he wanted to become the friend of the Lord. So if you are able to establish our connection with the Lord, everything else will automatically follow. While a devotee will not want it, yet those things will automatically follow and reach a devotee. So the best benediction to ask the Lord is to engage us in his service. Okay. Let's move ahead. On hearing the statement, right? So King Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking Lord Sri Krishna, "I want to perform this Rajasya Yajna," and Krishna is very happy. He says, "Yes, you should perform the Rajasya Yajna." And before that, he is glorifying, Yudhishthira Maharaj is glorifying Lord Sri Krishna in all these statements. All right. Anusha Mataji, go ahead. On hearing the statement by King Yudhishthira,
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. On hearing the statement by King Yudhishthira, Lord Krishna replied as follows: "My dear King Yudhishthira, O killer of enemies, O ideal justice personified, I completely support your decision to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice. After you perform this great sacrifice, your good name will remain well established forever in the history of human civilization. My dear King, I may inform you that all the great sages, your forefathers, the demigods, and your relatives and friends, including me, desire that you perform this sacrifice, and I think that it will satisfy every living entity. But I request you that you first conquer all the kingdoms of the world and collect all the requisite paraphernalia for executing this great sacrifice. My dear King Yudhishthira, your four brothers are direct representatives of important demigods like Vayu and Indra. It is said that Bhima was born out of the demigod Vayu and that Arjuna was born of the demigod Indra, whereas King Yudhishthira himself was born of the demigod Yamaraj. As such, your brothers are great heroes, and you are the most pious and self-controlled king, and are therefore known as Dharmaraja. All of you are so qualified in devotional service to me that I have automatically been conquered by you. Lord Krishna told King Yudhishthira that he is conquered by the love of one who has conquered his senses. One who has not conquered his senses cannot conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the secret of devotional service. To conquer the senses means to engage them constantly in the service of the Lord. The specific qualification of all the Pandava brothers was that they always engaged their senses in the Lord's services. One who thus engages in his senses becomes purified, and with the purified senses, the devotee can actually render transcendental loving service to the Lord and conquer him. Lord Krishna continued, "There is no one in the three worlds of the universe, including the powerful demigods, who can surpass my devotees in any of the six opulences, namely wealth, strength, reputation, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Therefore, if you want to conquer the worldly kings, there is no possibility of their emerging victorious." When Lord Krishna thus encouraged King Yudhishthira, the king's face brightened like a blossoming flower because of transcendental happiness, and thus he ordered his younger brothers to conquer all the worldly kings in all directions. Lord Krishna empowered the Pandavas to execute his great mission of chastising the infidel miscreants of the world and giving protection to his faithful devotees. In his Vishnu form, the Lord carries four weapons in his four hands: a lotus flower and a conch shell in two hands, and in the other two hands, a club and a disc. The club and disc are meant for the infidel miscreants and demons, and the lotus flower and conch shell are for the devotees. But because the Lord is the supreme absolute, the result of all his weapons is one and the same. With a club and disc, he chastises the miscreants so that they may come to their senses and know that they are not all in all, for above them there is the Supreme Lord. And by bugling with the conch shell and offering blessings with the lotus flower, he always assures the devotees that no one can vanquish him, even in the greatest calamity. King Yudhishthira, being thus assured by the indication of Lord Krishna, ordered his youngest brother Sahadev, accompanied by soldiers of Srinjaya tribe, to conquer the southern countries. Similarly, he ordered Nakula, accompanied by the soldiers of Matsya Desha, to conquer the kings of the western side. He sent Arjuna, accompanied by the soldiers of Kekaya Desha, to conquer the kings of the northern side. And he ordered Bhimasena, accompanied with the soldiers of Madras, to conquer the kings of the eastern side. It may be noted that by dispatching his younger brothers to conquer in different directions, King Yudhishthira did not actually intend that they declare war upon the kings. Actually, the brothers started for different directions to inform the respective kings about King Yudhishthira's intention to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice. The kings were thus informed that they were required to pay taxes for the execution of the service. This payment of taxes to Emperor Yudhishthira meant that the king accepted subjugation before him. In case of a king's refusal to act accordingly, there was certainly a fight. Thus, by their influence and strength, the brothers conquered all the kings in different directions, and they were able to bring in sufficient taxes and presentations, which they brought before King Yudhishthira. King Yudhishthira, Hare Krishna.
Haribol. So all the kings, right? All the eastern side, the western side, northern side, southern side, all of them, each one of the brothers were sent by Yudhishthira Maharaj, and all of them accepted Yudhishthira Maharaj's supremacy. That means they were willing to pay tax, right? Because Rajasuya Yajna, it needs a lot of money to perform those yajnas, and Lord Sri Krishna was going to be the beneficiary of that particular, the first person who will be worshipped in the Rajasuya sacrifice. Right? So, and in this way, by pleasing Krishna, everybody will be pleased. Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. That is sense control. It is not that we don't use the senses or, we don't perform any action, right? Because non-performance of our duty is also sinful action, right? Action and then be an error of commission. If we do wrong things, of course, it is sinful. But if we don't do what is required, that is also sinful. If we don't perform our duty, then we will be liable for sinful reactions, right? So here Yudhishthira Maharaj is sending all the four of his brothers to the four directions to ensure that all of the kings pay tax, or if they say that, okay, I'm not accepting Yudhishthira Maharaj, right, then there will be a fight, right? All of the kings actually accepted Yudhishthira Maharaj to be their superior, and they all paid taxes. But our Jarasandha, the king of Magadha, he was not willing to accept, right? And we all know the pastime, right? How King Krishna goes with Bhima and Arjuna, right, in the disguise of a Brahmana, and how there is a wrestling match between Bhima and Jarasandha. And Jara, like, he got the name because his mother's name is Jara. When he was born, that time only his body was actually joined, right? So whoever defeats him in a war and cuts his body into two, his body will again and again join together, right? So that's why Krishna will tell Bhima, right? Or he cannot tell, right? What he will do, he will do in action. That you do like this, right? We've seen. I remember the Mahabharata serial that we've seen on the TV. They portrayed it very nice. You turn and put him like that, right? And that's what in this book also Prabhupada tells that by the direction of Lord Sri Krishna, Bhima could actually kill Jarasandha. And in this way, the last obstacle on the path of the performance of Rajasuya Yajna is removed. And then the wonderful Rajasuya Yajna is performed by Yudhishthira Maharaj for the pleasure of Lord Sri Krishna. And when Krishna is pleased, it's giving pleasure to all of the living entities like that. Okay, let's continue reading. King Yudhishthira Maharaj, King Yudhishthira was very anxious. Okay, Deval Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Dhanvat Pranam. King Yudhishthira was very anxious, however, when he heard that King Jarasandha of Magad did not accept his sovereignty. Seeing King Yudhishthira's anxiety, Lord Sri Krishna informed him of the plan explained by Uddhava for conquering King Jarasandha. Bhimasena, Arjuna, and Lord Krishna then started together for Girivraja, the capital city of Jarasandha, dressing themselves in the garb of Brahmanas. This was the plan devised by Uddhava before Lord Krishna started for Hastinapur, and now it was given practical application. King Jarasandha was a very dutiful householder, and he had great respect for the Brahmanas. He was a great fighter, a Kshatriya king, but he was never neglectful of the Vedic injunctions. According to the Vedic injunctions, the Brahmanas are considered to be the spiritual masters of all other castes. Lord Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhimsena were actually Kshatriyas, but they dressed themselves as Brahmanas. And at that time, And at the time when King Jarasandha was to give charity to the Brahmanas and receive them as guests, they approached him. Lord Krishna, in the dress of Brahmana, said to the king, "We wish all glories to your majesty. We three guests at your royal palace have come from a great distance to ask you for charity, and we hope that you will kindly bestow upon us whatever we ask from you. We know about your good qualities. A person who is tolerant is always prepared to tolerate everything, even though distressful. Just as a criminal can perform the most abominable acts, as a greatly charitable person like you can give anything and everything for which he is asked. For a great personality like you, there is no distinction between relatives and outsiders. A famous man lives forever, even after his death. Therefore, any person who is completely fit and able to execute acts which will perpetuate his good name and fame, and yet does not do so, becomes abominable in the eyes of great persons. Such a person cannot be condemned enough, and his refusal to give charity is lamentable throughout his whole life. Your Majesty must have heard the glorious names of charitable personalities such as Harishchandra, Rantideva, and Mudgala, who used to live only on grains picked up from the paddy field, and the great Maharaja Shibi, who saved the life of a pigeon by supplying flesh from his own body. These great personalities have attained immortal fame simply by sacrificing the perishable body. Lord Krishna, in the garb of Brahmana, thus convinced Jarasandha that fame is imperishable, but the body is perishable. If one can attain imperishable name and fame by sacrificing his perishable body, he becomes a very respectable figure in the history of human civilization. While Sri Krishna was speaking in the garb of a Brahmana, along with Arjuna and Bhima, Jarasandha marked that the three of them did not appear to be actual Brahmanas. There were signs on their bodies by which Jarasandha could understand that they were Kshatriyas. Their shoulders were marked with impressions due to carrying bows. They had beautiful bodily structure, and their voices were grave and commanding. Thus, he definitely concluded that they were not Brahmanas but Kshatriyas. He also thought that he had seen them somewhere before. But although these three persons were Kshatriyas, they had come to his door begging alms like Brahmanas. Therefore, he decided that he would fulfill their desire in spite of their being Kshatriyas, because they had already diminished their position by appearing before him as beggars. Under the circumstances, he thought, I am prepared to give them anything. Even if they ask for my body, I shall not hesitate to offer it to them. In this regard, he began to think of Bali Maharaj. Lord Vishnu, in the dress of Brahmana, I appeared as a beggar before Bali and snatched away all of his opulence and his kingdom. He did this for the benefit of Indra, who have been defeated by Bali Maharaj, was bereft of his kingdom. Although Bali Maharaj was cheated, his reputation as a great devotee, able to give anything and everything in charity, is still glorified throughout the three worlds. Bali Maharaj could guess that the Brahmana was Lord Vishnu himself and had come to him just to take away his opulent kingdom on behalf of Indra. Bali's spiritual master and family priest Shukracharya repeatedly warned him about this, yet Bali did not hesitate to give in charity whatever the Brahmana wanted, and at last he gave up everything to that Brahmana. It is my strong determination, thought Jarasandha, that if I can achieve immortal reputation by sacrificing this perishable body, I must act for that purpose. The life of a Kshatriya who does not live for the benefit of the Brahmanas is certainly condemned. Actually, King Jarasandha was very liberal in giving charity to Brahmanas, and thus he informed Lord Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna, My dear Brahmanas, you may ask from me whatever you like. If you so desire, you may take my head also. I am prepared to give it. After this, Lord Krishna addressed Jarasandha as follows. My dear king, please note that we are not actually Brahmanas, nor have we come to ask for food or grain. We are all Kshatriyas, and we have come to beg a duel with you. We hope that you will agree to this proposal. You may note that there is a second son of King Pandu, Bhimsena, and the third son of Pandu, Arjuna. As for myself, you may know that I am your old enemy Krishna, the cousin of the Pandavas. When Lord Sri Krishna disclosed their disguise, King Jarasandha laughed very loudly, and then in great anger and in a grave voice he exclaimed, "You fools, if you want to fight with me, I immediately grant your request. But Krishna, I know that you are a coward. I refuse to fight with you because you become very confused when you face me in fighting. Out of fear of me, you left your own city, Mathura, and now you have taken shelter within the sea. Therefore, I must refuse to fight with you. As far as Arjuna is concerned, I know that he is younger than me and is not an equal fighter. I refuse to fight with him because he is not in any way an equal competitor. But as far Bhimsena is concerned, I think he is a suitable competitor to fight with me." After speaking in this way, King Jarasandha immediately handed a very heavy club to Bhimsena. He himself took another, and all of them went outside the city walls to fight. Bhimsena,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Pranam.
Pranam. So, for a person, who's very, very materialistic, right? It's very easy to convince him to do something, you need to, like Krishna is telling him, you will get name, fame, glory, and, he himself started comparing himself to Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj did that, right? He went against the words of his spiritual master Shukracharya, also engaged charity to Lord Vishnu when he knew that this is Lord Vishnu. And his consciousness was not that I will become very famous. Right? His consciousness was not that. His consciousness was that if Lord Vishnu has come, Vishnu has given everything to me. Right? Who else but the Lord can give everything to me? And if the Lord has come to take it from me, let me give it back to the Lord. That was his consciousness. He did not think that in the future, people will respect me, people will give me name, fame, glory, I will become very popular. Although my body will die, my name, fame, glory will exist forever. So like that, this Jarasandha immediately thought of Bali Maharaj and he thought, even if I'm going to die, right, by giving this kind of benediction to these brahmanas who look like kshatriyas, right, yet I will be I will be famous, my name will be spread in all the three worlds, right? So people who are materialistic, they're always in search of not wanting to serve the Lord, but they simply want to serve their own false ego. How can I get name, fame, glory, right? My own body will die, but at least my name and my fame will be glorified even after I die, right? So such are their expectations, right? Such are their desires. So if they get only that much, they'll be satisfied. Just some people talk about them and how long they will talk, right? So Jarasandha, if you see Jarasandha and Bali Maharaj, right? How many times you talk about Bali Maharaj? You always talk of Bali Maharaj because of his consciousness to always serve the Lord. He was willing to sacrifice himself for the pleasure of the Lord, with the consciousness that the Lord has given me everything. Isha vasim idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Whatever is given to me is given to me by the Lord. So the Lord wants to take it. I want to offer it all to the Lord. Right? So that was his consciousness. But if you act for our own false ego, that I will get name, fame, glory, I will get money, so let me give this act of charity, then we will only get some material benefit at the most, right? So like that. Okay, anyone else wants to read who is not yet read thus far? Okay, Sarvagopi Shri Mataji, go ahead. Bhimasen and King Jarasandha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Bhimasena and King Jarasandha engaged themselves in fighting, and with their respective clubs, which were as strong as thunderbolts, they began to strike each other very severely. Both of them being eager to fight, they were both expert fighters with clubs, and their techniques of striking each other were so beautiful that they appeared to be two dramatic artists dancing on the stage. When the clubs of Jarasandha and Bhimasena loudly collided, the impact sounded like that of the big tusks of two fighting elephants, or like a thunderbolt in a flashing electrical storm. When two elephants fight together in a sugarcane field, each of them snatches a stick of sugarcane, holds it tightly in its trunk, and strikes the other. At that time, the sugarcane becomes smashed by such a heavy striking. Similarly, when Bhimasena and Jarasandha were heavily striking each other with their clubs on different parts of their bodies, namely the shoulders, arms, collarbone, chest, thighs, waist, and legs, their clubs were torn to pieces. In this way, all the clubs used by Jarasandha and Bhimasena came ruin. And so the two enemies prepared to fight with the strong-fisted hands. Jarasandha and Bhimasena were very angry, and they began to smash each other with their fists. The striking of their fists sounded like the striking of iron bars or like the sound of thunderbolts. And the warriors appeared to be like the two elephants fighting. Neither was able to defeat the other. However, both were expert in fighting. They were equal. They were of equal strength, and their fighting techniques were also equal. Neither Jarasandha nor Bhimasena became fatigued or defeated in the fighting. Although they struck each other continuously, at the end of each day's fighting, they lived at night as friends in Jarasandhana's palace. And the next day they fought again. In this way, they passed 27 days in fighting. On the 28th day, Bhimasena told Krishna, "My dear Krishna, I must frankly admit that I cannot conquer Jarasandhana." Lord Krishna, however, knew the mystery of Jarasandhana birth. Jarasandha had been born in two different parts from two different mothers. When his father saw the baby was useless, he threw the two parts into the forest. They were later found by a witch named Jara, who was killed in the black horse. She managed to join the two parts of the baby from top to bottom. Knowing this, Lord Krishna therefore also knew how to kill him. He hinted to Bhimasena that since Jarasandha had been brought to life by the joining of the two parts of his body, he could be killed by the separation of these two parts. Thus, Lord Krishna transferred his power into the body of Bhimasena and informed him the device by which Jarasandha could be killed. Lord Krishna plucked a twig from a tree and took it in his hand and bifurcated it. In this way, he hinted Bhimasena how Jarasandha could be killed. Lord Krishna's Supreme Personality of Godhead is omnipotent, and if he wants to kill someone, no one can save the person.
You missed a line. Lord Krishna plucked a twig from a tree, took it in his hand and bifurcated it. In this way, he intended to Bhimasena how Jarasandha could be killed. Then Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is omnipotent, and if he wants to kill someone, no one can save that person. Similarly, if he wants to save someone, no one can kill him. Yeah. So here we see that Rakhe Krishna, Mare Krishna, Rakhe Ke. Right? Krishna wants to protect someone, nobody can kill him. And if Krishna wants to kill someone, nobody can protect, right? So Jarasandha, it was determined that the Lord wanted to kill Jarasandha. So Lord Krishna knows everything, right? He knows what has happened in the past, how Jara was, how Jara had joined the body of Jarasandha and how he could be killed. So he very clearly indicated through the twig to cut the twig into half and throw in the opposite directions. So in this way, he told, he informed Bhimsen how to kill Jarasandha. And in this way, by understanding the hints of Lord Sri Krishna, Bhimasena immediately killed Jarasandha. So let's see what happens. Okay, last section of it. Last section of this chapter. Okay, who will read? Okay, Karpavali Mataji, go ahead. Informed with the hints of Lord Krishna from there.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Informed by the hints of Lord Krishna, Bhimasena immediately took hold of Jarasandha's legs and threw him to the ground. When Jarasandha fell, Bhimasena immediately pressed one of Jarasandha's legs to the ground and took hold of the other leg with his two hands. Catching Jarasandha in this way, he tore his body in two and from the anus up to the head, as an elephant takes the branches of a tree into two. Bhimasena separated the body of Jarasandha. The audience standing nearby saw that Jarasandha's body was now divided into two halves, so that each half had one leg, one thigh, one testicle, half a backbone, half a chest, and one collarbone, one arm, one eye, one ear, and half a face. As soon as the news of Jarasandha's death was announced, all the citizens of Magadha began to cry, "Alas, alas," while Lord Krishna and Arjuna embraced Bhimasena to congratulate Jarasandha was neither Krishna nor the two Pandava brothers made a claim to the throne. Their purpose to stop him from creating a disturbance to the proper discharge of world peace. A demon always creates disturbances, whereas a demigod always tries to keep peace in the world. The mission of Lord Krishna is to protect the righteous and kill the demons who disturb a peaceful situation. Therefore, Lord Krishna immediately called for the son of Jarasandha, whose name was Sahadeva. And with due ritualistic ceremonies, the Lord asked him to occupy the seat of his father and reign over the kingdom peacefully. Lord Krishna is the master of whole cosmic creations. He wants everyone to live peacefully and execute Krishna consciousness. After installing Sahadeva on the throne, he released all the kings and princes who had been imprisoned unnecessarily by Jarasandha. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of 72nd chapter of Krishna, the liberation of King Jarasandha. Thank you, Mataji Nandathamams.
Sorry, I was on mute. Okay, so that enabled many devotees to switch on their cameras, right? I should try this more often, right? I have so many devotees switched on their cameras to tell me, cannot hear. Okay, that's nice. So I was just saying that, what was I saying? Yeah, so I was saying, Bhoktaram Yagnatapasam Sarvalokam Maheshwaram Suradam Sarvabhutanam Yatva Mam Shanti Brichati. So we should understand that Krishna is my supreme friend, Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, Krishna is my supreme well-wisher, and Krishna is the supreme owner of everything. So I should not worry about anything because some things may not be under my control, but everything is under the control of my best friend, who is my best well-wisher, who's my best friend. So why should I worry? Right? I simply have to accept all the conditions as the mercy of the Lord and do my best as part of my Swadharma, as part of my Sanatana Dharma, for the pleasure of the Lord. And in this way, everything in my life will get sorted by the causeless mercy of Guru and Gauranga. So let's quickly do Harinam Sankirtan. Devotees can switch on your cameras and we'll take darshan and then we will close. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Priti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyarishutarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Gauranitai Jai Jai Jagannath Jai Baladev Jai Jai Subhadra Jai Jai Sudarshan Jai Bala Gopal Jai Rukmini Vitthal Jai Radha Krishna Jai Shad Goswami Jai Guru Parampara Jai Prabhupada Jai Guru Deva Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नीताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरे कृष्णा सो थैंक यू वेरी मच डियर डिवोटीज अमृतमयी माताजी शोभा माताजी श्रीधर प्रभु कर्पगवली माताजी हरजीत माताजी राजेश्वरी माताजी अनुषा माताजी प्रणब प्रभु जी Archana Mataji and all the devotees, thank you for switching on your cameras, and other devotees who are not able to switch on your cameras. My sincere gratitude to all of you. Thank you for joining in every day for our Krishna book study session, for our Srimad Bhagavatam study session. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So Anusha Mataji, we missed to actually go live on YouTube in the morning. So that's why you might not have found the Japa talk. So yeah, it's almost skipped my mind in the morning. So anyways, so it's better to join live, rather than rely on the YouTube. Okay. So I mean, it was a mistake on my part. Forgive me for that. Hare Krishna. Dandat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, devotees. Dandat Pranams. Meet you all tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock for our Brahma Murta chanting session. Until then, happy chanting, happy devotion.